Hello, good evening, and welcome back. I know that coronavirus is taking up most of the airwaves at the moment, so I figured it was about time that we covered a couple of different stories, and maybe one that will have you ending the week on a high, or starting the week with a good laugh. But start just to update from a previous video of parks to remain open. Well, actually, the Middlesbrough mayor says no, his parks are going to stay closed. That it's got one of the highest rates of COVID-19 infection outside of London, and it would be dangerous for people to mingle. Understanding that it's good for people to get fresh air and be outside, but he thinks that these parks, no, actually, that's not going to be useful for people to get that fresh air, and they're going to be too close to each other in a park like Stewart Park here, which you can see there's loads of space, in which case, no, it's going to stay closed. Are people going to stay in Middlesbrough then? No, of course they're not. They're going to drive somewhere else so that they can go to a park which is open, just like we see in states in America that we're seeing with towns, cities, or councils over here. That it's the same thing. They'll just go somewhere else, and if you're worried about Middlesbrough people being so infected, then you're just spreading it out into other areas. So good job. But in a dramatic change, Canada, there's been a shooting, and the gunman was dressed as a policeman, and he killed several people. So yes, it is a mass shooting. How do you define a mass shooting? It really depends. In the US, it's shooting 4 or more people. Nobody has to die. It's just people get shot by firearms, and you've got at least 4 victims. So a suspected gunman who dressed as a policeman killed several people, including a police officer, in a 12-hour rampage in Nova Scotia, Canadian media reports. They've got no motive behind it, but of course, we have got a name and a photograph saying it's Gabriel Wortman, who may have been dressed in police uniform. He is the culprit who's been identified as the alleged attacker, as 51-year-old Gabriel Wortman. So as he's white, of course, we're going to spread his details all around. Why not? So what was the motive? They don't know. He just shot people. So the BBC, of course, ends saying, mass shootings are relatively rare in Canada, where gun ownership laws are stricter than in the neighbouring United States. You've got to bring in the US there. You've got to bring in the US saying that, they have more shootings. So yeah, violent crime. Are we going to go into that? Are we going to go into rates per capita of mass killings, of shooting sprees? Yes, killings, not just mass shootings. Or are we going to go into maybe where these shootings take place? If you look through, as I have in a video a while ago at the Garlic Festival, saying that, okay, they seem to take place in the more impoverished neighbourhoods. They seem to be done particularly on a ethnic group for whatever reason, and just like Pareto principle, which says that 50% of the work is done by 10% of the people, that you see a similar thing here, the 1350 meme, which always crops up, which leads us into a lovely segue on a lovely little joyful topic from Summit News. Yes, Paul Joseph Watson's website, Rachel Dolezal, we all know the great transracial activist, the one who says she's black, who was trolled into performing 13%, 50% shout out, which is fantastic. I mean, surely somebody who goes into it and is such an activist and saying, oh, well, we can't have black people reprimanded like this. I'm one of you guys. I'm one of the cool kids, don't you know? But no, it went straight over her head. Maybe she got caught up and not knowing what she was saying. Whatever it might be, it was fantastic. So what was it that happened? Well, one of her contributors paid her $13.55 to shout out a supposed corporate message to the employees saying, hi, this is Rachel Dolezal sending congratulations to the 13% crew for hitting 55% this year. That's amazing. That's great, but it gets better. When 13% of the company does 55% of the work, you deserve recognition. But truth be told, it's more like 6% getting it done. So you know who you are. Congratulations on your success. And this message is from your regional manager. Oh, good job, you follower. And as it goes to say, the 6% figure is a reference to the fact that most of the homicides are carried out by black males, who make up around 6% of the US population. So instead of the black population, it's then the black male population. Of course, single parent households, which is a nice way of saying broken homes. Of course, not having the father figure there, But hey, it follows the Pareto principle, as we see in everything else, similar to Zipf's law, that 20% of the effort is responsible for 80% of the work. So, jolly well done. As one respondent on Twitter replied, which I think sums up how we're all feeling about it. That is so fucking funny. That is literally the funniest thing I've seen this year. You were truly the best follow ever. So thank you, Ms. Dolezal, for coming back. I'd almost forgotten about you, and yet you blast back onto the scene with this amazing lack of knowledge of what you're saying. And it is a joy to behold. So thank you. Do spread this message out. I'm sure there are many other companies that really need you to point out the Pareto principle, because they could be talking about anything, of course, because this does track in any company that about 10% will be responsible for about 50%, or about 13% responsible for about 55%. And then, of course, the smaller the percentage, they're the ones that are getting it done more so. Of course, the top 1% are doing the most as a percentage. So yes, of course, the 6% are getting it done more. So, well done. Keep the memes coming. I'm glad that we can cover something that is joyful and isn't coronavirus related. So thank you, Dolezal, and to everybody else, have a good one.